Arriving at the train station in Berlin in the last days of November was admittedly an exciting moment. For Beverly, it was her first trip to the German capital. For me, it was returning to somewhere I knew in a different time and place. I knew things were going to be incredibly different than when I lived in Berlin 35 years ago. The country's united, the wall's gone, the city has moved on. I was trying to move on as well by creating fresh memories of a city that has meant so much to me. We hopped in our car and drove to our hotel in what had been East Berlin. The neighborhood was clean and developing, but it was clearly evident that they were still trying to dress up the neighborhood that had suffered economic depression during the 4 decades of communist rule as a member of the Warsaw Pact. Later, we headed to the Tiergarten, a wooded area downtown, and circled the Victory Column, adorned with gilded cannon barrels captured during the wars in the 1800s from the French, the Danes, and the Austrians. Then we walked down the boulevard past the Soviet War Memorial, built following World War II. Along the street were memorials to the days I remembered so well while I was here and afterward.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
And it was gone. The last time I saw the Brandenburg Gate, the Berlin Wall surrounded it. Walking through it was a moment I had only dreamed of. When I left the city in 1981, I could not imagine ever being able to stroll through it and see it in its magnificence. Just to the other side was a reminder of a new ugly threat to our world, a memorial to the Paris attacks that had occurred just a few weeks before. The next day, German police would pick up 2 terror suspects just a few blocks away from this memorial. Around the corner, we walked to the Reichstag, the German parliament building. When I lived here, it was little more than a museum and a memory of how Hitler had used a fire that gutted it in 1933 as a reason to suspend constitutional rights of the citizens. The city of 3.5 million people was clearly long past those times I remembered so well. Going into the suburbs in Potsdam, we could see more evidence of a growing economy and freedom. Work was underway to refurbish the Babelsberg Palace, which used to be the summer home of the Prussian emperor in the 1800s. Even the water pumping station on the Havel River nearby looks like something out of medieval times. Just across the waterway, we could see the Glinica Bridge, closed off when the wall was up, except when there were spy swaps that took place, like the famed trade of our U-2 pilot Francis Gary Powers for the Soviet spy Rudolf Abel. It's surprising this river crossing survived the bombs, battles, and abuse that have nearly destroyed it time and again throughout history. Our old apartment building was no longer a military housing area, but now used by German civilians, like many other remaining military structures from the days of the military occupation. One sight that was as vivid today as it was in my memory are the Christmas lights on the Kurfrstendamm. We were driving down the street when they threw the switch to light up the avenue. This is the Berlin equivalent of Times Square, home to upscale stores and shops, hotels and restaurants, and a stunning light show around Christmas. The sidewalks are filled with shoppers and spectators, and the Christmas market is in full swing in the plaza, bordered by the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church that was bombed during World War II and the Europa Center with its glowing Mercedes-Benz logo spinning on the roof. The light show was nothing short of spectacular. The store windows and displays, including a Lego Santa, were extraordinary, and the Glühwein and Kartoffelpuffer were delicious. The whole experience was definitely worth the long bus and subway rides from our hotel. Another surprising change was Benauerstrasse. 35 years ago, the site of the original Berlin Wall, where the East Germans bricked up doors and windows and then chopped off the backs of the buildings and topped the remaining wall with barbed wire and broken glass. It was the site of tunnels and escapes in the early days. Today, it's the site of a memorial to those who died here, trying to escape, and those who suffered at the hands of a Soviet-led regime. It was surprising to see the Church of Reconciliation, trapped for decades in the no-man's land between East and West Berlin, gone, except for the church bells, and a modern memorial chapel. Parts of the wall remain as well, as a virtual wall, partly of pipes and partly of buried bricks along the original route. On the chilly, snowy morning we left, I reflected on our new memories of Berlin. They are of a vibrant place with an ugly past. It is where an oppressive government divided a city, friends, and families, and killed those who tried to escape. Berlin will always be a reminder of just how precious and fragile freedom can be.